It's always nice to wake up during the day and wonder, what am I going to talk about? Am I going to make a video? I'm tired. It's the weekend. And then this falls right into my lap. Article from Eurogamer. Here's why some players plan to boycott Final Fantasy 16. I can't imagine anyone legitimately boycotting a Final Fantasy game. These games have been out since my childhood, and I'm talking going back all the way to Final Fantasy 1 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, which I believe was called was it Final Fantasy 1 in Japan? Either way, Final Fantasy 2 was Final Fantasy 4 in Japan. Anyway, they've been around for a very long time. These are games, anything with a Final Fantasy name on it, people just eat up like cake, and it's just one after another, regardless of, what the look is. I do like the old classic feel. I did enjoy the Final Fantasy 7 remake, bought it, finished it. But this boycott a Final Fantasy game, how bad does it have to be? I wonder what this article is going to talk about. But the first quote is, "It would seem like the best way to send a message to Square would be to vote with your wallet." Now, what would you think? Now, what is your first thoughts before I go any further? Think about it for a second. What would cause you to boycott a Final Fantasy game? Let's see what it has to say. Some Final Fantasy players have revealed they plan to boycott Final Fantasy 16. Some, as in Twitter lunatics. Oh, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Due to the development team's, quote, continuously questionable response to the lack of diversity in the game. OG. A Japanese gaming company not giving any shits and zero fucks about Western ideological nonsense. They just make games. Last November, producer Naoki Yoshida addressed the lack of diversity in an interview, and the response did little to assuage the concerns of black and minority ethnic players. Here's my question, dear black and minority ethnic players. How long have you been playing Final Fantasy games? How many of them do you adore to all get out? Has diversity seriously been a problem? It's a video game. It's a fantasy. I hate to break this to you, but not every single game on the market needs to have customizable characters. Not every game on the market needs to have diversity and inclusion. You can play other games or shut up. In direct response to this, some players are now planning to boycott Final Fantasy 16 due to the lack of diversity in minority characters. Oh my goodness. We're going to pay attention to this to see how well it works out for you. Quote, "So despite notable criticism from who? Where? Japan doesn't give a shit. And backlash online, amounting to one or two accounts more than likely, regarding the lack of diversity in the game and Square's continuously questionable response to the topic." We're repeating ourselves. "It seems a lot of people are still planning to purchase..." No kidding. It seems a lot of people are still planning to purchase Final Fantasy 16. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because the Final Fantasy franchise is beloved and has been beloved for decades and decades. You're talking about over 30 years of fantastic games. We don't need to talk about their MMO track record. This feels a little odd to me because it would seem like the best way to send a message to Square would be to vote with your wallet, per se, and not purchase the game given these concerns. Therefore, I was specifically wondering if anyone was going to take a stand and not purchase or boycott Final Fantasy 16 due to these issues. This is an unfortunate thing that happened with, fortunate or unfortunate, depending on your viewpoint. They tried to do the same thing with Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think Square has to worry about it at all. I don't think this nonsense is going to boost sales all that much, although it could. At least it's not going to boost sales to the point where Hogwarts Legacy sales were boosted. But I think Square is going to be just fine with your little boycott. Go ahead, scream it from the rafters. Try to force your ideology onto the corporations, especially those in Japan, and see how that works out for you. I am. It's not particularly difficult either, given just how many games there are to play. True, yeah. It won't move the needle, then why are you doing it? But it'll make me feel better about my purchases. Oh, said one commenter, whilst another added, I'm not buying it. To be completely honest, knowing that Starfield and Dragon's Dogma are coming with black characters and black character creation. I said that a little weird, didn't I? Black. I think I puffed up my lips a little bit too much. Where was I? Forspoken is mediocre. No, Forspoken was trash. But Frey, being a good character, helps a bit. I'm good. No, Frey was trash. However, at the time of writing this, over 1,200 players have responded to the poll, but just 2.9%, that's around 40 people, are intending to intentionally boycott the release, with 72.8% still committed to buying the game. Out of 1,200, well, don't you feel special? 24% of those polled didn't plan on picking up Final Fantasy XVI at all. No, if I boycotted the game due to lack of diversity in terms of characters that looked like me, I wouldn't have shit to play outside of a few indies at best, to put it very bluntly, explained one fan. See, you're not going to find games that represent you all the time. The point of a video game, as with most entertainment, is a fantasy. It's to get away from the real world. I was talking about this on my Discord. Yes, I have a Discord. Anyway, I was talking about this with a few people on my Discord channel about, yes, customizable characters, 100% customizable characters. Looking at you, Cyberpunk. Go ahead. Make all kinds of characters you want. Is great. It's all well and good. They're fantastic. You get to look however you want to. And the more customizable the face, I think the better that is when a customizable character makes sense to the story. Being able to adjust the face to look like you facially is fantastic. But I'm 40 pounds overweight. I don't want a body frame in the game that looks like me. 9 times out of 10, I'm playing a chick. Sorry, it's just, even in first person, the voice is just more pleasant most of the time than the dudes, voice actors. And hey, if it's third person view, I got something nice to look at. Call me a simp all you want to, I don't care. That's how I get my entertainment, from the TV screen and the computer screen. I don't go out much. I need to touch grass. What was I talking about besides female digital booties? I would never fault a game developer for forcing me to play a male character, such as in the Witcher series, because that's part of the story. Or the upcoming Star Wars game, which has a female protagonist. Oh my goodness. It's part of the story. Not every game needs a customizable character. Not every game needs to have diversity. Get over yourselves. Pretentious, self-absorbed. Anyway, since the very first time I started playing games, before the age of 5. Before the age of 5? Oh, no, I was playing Pac-Man when I was 6. Anyway, I played games based on if they are fun or not. Oh my goodness, there's some common sense in the world. There is hope for the future yet. 30-some years later, that has not changed. Add another, I like that way of thinking. Coming from a black person, you gotta be always careful whenever somebody starts off their sentence like that. Maybe it's just me, but if you start off a sentence coming from a black person, or coming from a woman of color, or Hispanic this or Hispanic that, I get a little suspect. Because, again, you're online. I'm not saying people are lying for bait or clicks or bots or anything like that, but, you know, when you start your sentence off like that, you don't need those qualifiers. Just give your opinion. Say what you want to say. I'm guilty of having qualifiers, except, you know, outside of as a white person. I don't do that. That's just foolish. I think of it the same way. As a black person or as a white person, saying one doesn't sound good, shouldn't say the other one. Coming from a black... If you want to boycott, go for it. I'm there day one. Exactly. With so many few people, I can't imagine, even with 1,200 people polled, 24 of them said they were going to boycott it. This is going to fall so flat. Japan does not give a rat's ass about the ideological nonsense going on in the West. They like to make money. And, well, the Final Fantasy games make money, so they're going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to write the stories that they want to write, and they're going to make the characters look like they want to look. And most of the time, from what I can tell, at least from manga and anime and everything, most of the Japanese make their characters look like white dudes, like white people, like this ideological body type. Big eyes outside of the women, the big eyes, small mouth thing. But how do you think how do you think this nonsense is going to go? Article from Eurogamer. Do you think any sort of boycott of a Square game, a Final Fantasy game, has any legs to stand on whatsoever? Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike. I appreciate you making it this far. Bye-bye.